Passion helps you in protecting the community, and public service will follow it. That has been my career. It is the passion that drives me to do what I do every day. I didn't leave bodybuilding until I felt that I had gone as far as I could go. It will be the same with my film career. When I feel the time is right, I will then consider public service. I feel that the highest honor comes from serving people and your country. I have gone from a proponent of campaign finance reform to a revolutionary during my time in public service. I grew up in war and saw the United Nations help my country to recover and rebuild. That experience was a big part of what led me to pursue a career in public service. As Secretary General, I am determined to see this organization deliver tangible, meaningful results that advance peace, development and human rights. I've got to restructure all my personal life now in order to accommodate public service, which is fine. I'm truly worried about the country's direction. I can tell you this categorically. We've got the weakest president and the weakest governor in the history of my 50 years of public service. So often public service comes with sacrifice. A sacrifice that our men and women in uniform make each day. As someone who has put my life on hold, my personal life on hold, for Parliament and for public service for over a decade and a half, I really got to a culmination point where I had to make a decision to have more normality in my life, or sacrifice that entirely for a campaign that was going to be all-consuming. When I first ran for public office, it was with the passion and idealism of a young man who believed that government could help make our lives better. That public service was a calling and that citizenship demanded responsibilities. There was a greater good. I feel that public service is so important in giving back. Being a role model and helping people in need is something that I would love to do. And you realize you're doing a public service in making people happy. As a musician you can give people something a doctor, a lawyer, a politician cannot give them that. It's not scientific. It's spiritual, a good feeling. And although you don't know them personally, the audience are like your friends. I learned that public service is a privilege that must be based on moral foundations. I grew up in a family really rooted in science and public health and was taught that's a form of public service. I just don't believe in the basic concept that someone should make their whole career in public service. Every man who says frankly and fully what he thinks is doing a public service. I think public service is a calling and you do it as long as the things that brought you into the office can continue getting you up in the morning and as long as there's still work to get done. My parents were engineers. In the 1970s, they came to the United States as refugees from Uganda. Seeing everything this country did for my family inspired me to want to give back through public service. I can assure you, public service is a stimulating, proud and lively enterprise. It is not just a way of life, it is a way to live fully. My impression is that most women public service workers have a long fuse. Precisely because they care so deeply about services, more than anyone, they still want to find a sensible and fair negotiated agreement. But their patience has run out. Public service is a core value for people of my generation. Classic 19th century European imperialists believed they were literally on a mission. I don't believe that the imperialists these days have that same sense of public service. They are simply pirates. Money is not a measure of a man's character or success in the arena of public service. I remember telling President Carter on his first night, when I was escorting people around, that I was interested in continuing public service and that politics didn't matter, but it does, doesn't it? When you are in the public eye, in the name of public service, you have to understand that the more people know about you, and the more people say they want to support you, the more you have to work even harder to uphold that trust. I've had the honor and privilege of knowing Jeff for over 25 years. He's been a dear friend and a mentor, and there is no finer person in public service than Jeff Sessions. He's conducted himself with the greatest integrity of any public official I've ever met. I favor a system where students in publicly funded institutions make a commitment. If they do well in the private sector, they will revert a certain percentage of their income to the education sector, and if they devote some years to public service, their debt will be forgiven. I'm a proud Dominican American. My folks always taught me that it's important to keep the ladder down and that to whom much is given, much is expected. That's why I have pursued a career in public service. I can't think of a better way to give back what this nation gave to us than to try to make sure that opportunity exists for everyone. I've been so blessed to be part of a family that has dedicated its life to public service. In my public service, I treasure my friendship with law enforcement officers. I admire what they do and support them in every aspect of their job. I have always looked upon law enforcement officers as my friends. For me, public service is an honor, and I have the ultimate respect for the rule of law. Sick leave should be used to cover the costs of paying people who work in the public service who are sick, and that we can deliver that to our public servants while making it affordable for Canadian taxpayers. I passionately support Hillary Clinton for president because she has devoted her life to public service and has been willing to learn and change along the way by listening to the people she serves. I put my name out there and ran for public service because I want more inclusion, diversity, and opportunity. I will fight for those values. You don't ever earn a right to stop doing anything if you feel there is an obligation to move in terms of public service. I was raised on the values of speaking up and making a positive difference in a very political family that believed in the importance of public service. I'm a simple small-c conservative who believes in public service, serving others, and doing a good job for my country. Public service is about serving all the people, including the ones who are not like you. It is not about the money, it's the public service aspect. Absolutely, I think it has qualities of redemption. The city gets a second chance. I get a second chance. For me, there can be no higher public service than serving as a member of the U.S. Supreme Court. One of the best lessons I learned early is that not everything in life is about you. It is about service. If you want trips and excessive gifts, then don't get into public service. Whether it's the grind of the day-to-day, or a crisis, we all need to work together because that's what great public service is all about. I feel that my father's greatest legacy was the people he inspired to get involved in public service and their communities, to join the Peace Corps, to go into space. And really that generation transformed this country in civil rights, social justice, the economy, and everything. Enjoy your time in public service. It may well be one of the most interesting and challenging times of your life. I am a woman with a calling for social struggle and public service. In my years in public service, I have advocated for reforms to our unforgiving and vindictive legal system. I'm tired but grateful. Choosing to blend parenting and public service has made me a more confident mother and a better legislator. The PMLN is committed to public service mission, and it will continue to outcome every hurdle in our way. When you go into public service, you understand you're trading something. You want to feel good about what you do, but you're not going to make what people in private sector make. The difference between burlesque and the newspapers is that the former never pretended to be performing a public service by exposure. If you believe you can make a difference, not just in politics, in public service, in advocacy around all these important issues, then you have to be prepared to accept that you are not going to get 100% approval. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.